Yes, good afternoon to you. In what many has referred to as a David versus Goliath matter, this inquest was due to get underway here in the Western Cape High Court behind me today. And of course, today being exactly 3 years and 2 months to the day that Mr. Jimmy would have perished when his vehicle caught light. And of course, you mentioned early on that the civic rights group AfriForum is representing the Jimmy family. And joining me now is Mr. Andrew Leask from AfriForum just to take us through this morning's proceedings. Sir, good day to you. We know that the matter has now been postponed until the 8th of March, but there were a couple of issues brought to the fore before Judge Robert Henny a short while ago. We understand that the Ford Motor Company says that there are quite a number of witnesses that were on the scene that still needs to be interviewed. We also know that there was a request for information, for example, such as cell phone information, video footage from the hotel where Mr. Jimmy stayed, that also now needs to come to the fore. If you could just wrap up this morning's proceedings which led to this postponement.
Thank you. I think firstly it's very important to note that the court acknowledged that the interests of the family here, which is a very important aspect of an inquest proceeding, was not on an equal playing field. And the judge has set that straight. That is very important for us in taking the matter forward. What's also important is that other than the judge has made it clear that the persons who had issued statements on rumours they'd heard and aspects relating to the incident themselves should now be brought to court. We support that. We think that it is in the interest that all that evidence be brought. But more importantly, that Ford was also told to make their reports, which they've withheld, available, and that it be inclusive of the inquest report. And we are extremely happy about that. And of course the inquest proceedings will determine liability.
So we understand that there will be another sort of pre-trial conference for outstanding matters to be ironed out. And I think all parties in court just now made it quite clear that once this inquest gets underway, that as little as possible interruptions should take place. And you rightfully said the purpose of this inquest is to determine the cause of death and also to determine whether there would be any liability in this matter. What does this mean? What does this inquest mean then for the Jimmy family?
Well, it will most importantly bring closure to the family, and that is extremely important for the family's interests. Secondly, it's important that in issues like this, that a proper investigation brings closure in the way that it allows a court to evaluate all the evidence and bring it to conclusion and determine whether somebody or a party is liable or not.
Thank you very much, of course, Mr. Andrew Leask, the Chief Investigator for the civic organisation AfriForum, who are indeed representing the family of Reshall Jimmy on a pro bono basis here in the Western Cape High Court as an inquest to determine the cause of death and to determine whether or not indeed the Ford company could be liable for his death will of course get underway as from the 18th of March. That's of course the new date that has been set down for this inquest to go ahead. And we've spoken very briefly to the sister of Mr. Reshall Jimmy, Vanessa Jimmy, who attended court proceedings today, and we'll catch up with her a little bit later on as well. But I think the core message from the family is that they're glad that finally this matter is coming to the point where all the investigations, all the rumours that could possibly be dispelled around their beloved brother and son's death could possibly be put to rest once this inquest comes to a finality here in the court behind me.
Thanks very much for that, Vanessa. Nzinga?